Hello, everyone. So, welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about LLMs, RAGs, and how can EHS managers use them to improve their existing safety and compliance procedures through artificial intelligence. So, what are LLMs? So, LLMs are large language models, and these large language models are AI models that have been trained on texts that are available on the internet, other data such as PDF documents, images, and videos, sounds, etc. So it has been trained on huge amount of data that, and now we can interact with them with human language. So we don't have to be a programmer or like a techie to interact with these systems, and they could give us very complex answers and answers that basically look like they were generated by humans. So think of them as a super smart librarian that can get the information and generate new things with it. So it is a very exciting time to have these models and have these tools because they could help us achieve a lot and unlock a lot of efficiencies in our workflows. So how can EHS managers use these LLMs and why does it matter? So today I was talking to a safety manager and she told me she was preparing to do a environmental assessment for a client. And she was going through a lot of documents, a lot of spreadsheets, etc. So this work will take her days and weeks to achieve. But now with LMs, she spent a couple hours. She uploaded the documents to the LM and then she used it to create a template for a report with outlines, etc. And that's sped up her workflow tremendously. Also, it is a very accessible system because we can interact using human language. We don't have to code or be an expert to use them. Just type your question, whatever is on your mind, and the AI will try to reply to that question. However, we have to uh, there are some techniques that we could use to improve the accuracy of our question prompting, like so it does like and ensure that the AI does not spit out things that are too vague or anything. So we could do another video where we could basically talk about prompting techniques and how we could optimizing prompts to ensure that we get a good response. And the last point is efficiency. So LLMs are very good at basically helping us improve our processes and be more efficient because they reduce the amount of time we have to go through the data because they're using compute time. So it's way faster than a human can process the documents. For example, if you want to look at the OSHA regulations, like up to 4,000 pages or something. So I don't think there is a human that knows it by heart. So you spend a couple hours looking for the information you're looking for. So with the LLMs, just ask the question and you'll get the answer within a couple seconds. So huge time saving. However, every system has limitations, and so does LLMs. So they are very generalistic. So since they have been trained on the internet, so they know things that are available, but they don't have specific knowledge about, let's say, your specific context, your specific company, because they don't have access to the data. So their answers would not fit your context specifically. Uh, they have a potential for errors, and we call these errors hallucinations because LLMs are basically a giant machine that is very good at predicting the next word for an answer of like to your question. Um, so that's what it does. Sometimes, like even though it does not have the answer within its knowledge base, it will try to still predict the the answer, and it could be like way off, and that basically will be a hallucination. And so we have to be wary of these. And if you're working with very critical, like critical domains, you have to be very careful and always double check what the LLMs tell you. And the last thing is like they are again not very knowledgeable about specific things, so they could give you very generic responses. So because they don't know exactly your context, so your their answers will be very vague. So what are RAGs? So RAGs come as an add-on to the LLMs, and RAGs stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. And as the names implies, it will get data from specific sources, yeah, that you upload. These sources will be converted from text, images, whatever, to uh, numbers. These numbers the LLM can understand, and we call this process embedding. And then basically the LLM will use this data to reply to your answer, but within the context that you need. So it is a very powerful tool to ensure that the LLM gives you very concrete answers based on the data that you have. So how do RAGs help EHS managers? So as LLMs, these RAGs work in real time. So they are very fast in retrieving answers. So again, you have uh, thousands of pages of like regulations and procedures. It will get your answer in a few seconds. So huge time savings. It will reduce the risk of getting wrong answers due to hallucinations because they are grounded to the information that you gave them. Uh, it will basically be good for, let's say, if you want to do some compliance work, etc. They are very good because they will show you their work. They will show you where they got the information from, so you could audit what they did, and you could customize them to specific knowledge spaces. For example, if you want to do environmental analysis, you could put environmental regulations to it. If you want to specialize it in workplace safety, you could put workplace safety regulations into it and procedures. So you could create custom regs for specific problems. Now we're going to talk about some practical EHS applications. Let's say you want to do some incident reporting. So you have a lot of reports coming from the sites. It's a lot of reports coming through. So and you want to synthesize a report that will analyze the common root causes, etc. So instead of spending hours reading through each report and trying to use spreadsheets to create the data charts, etc., the RAG will consume the data, and the LLMs will analyze it and then create a report for you. It can also be used for training. So let's say you want to target a specific zone in your site because there's like specific safety concerns there. You could create a training that is custom for that specific area because they have specific process, etc. So you could help you create a lot of training material that is custom to you. So it's not very generic. People will relate to. And the last thing is, say there are some new updates to regulations. You have to update your procedures. You can upload your procedures and upload the new regulations, and it will help you make sure that your procedures are up to date. It will like suggest changes, and you could basically add those changes to your procedure. So your documentation is up to date with the regulations. So how can we start using these rules? I think the first thing is like try to identify what you want to do. So are you trying to ensure that your documents are compliant to the new regulations, or do you want to create new trainings? Do you want to do incident analysis? So first, pick a problem you want to solve. Second, pick an LLM platform. So it could be Grok, ChatGPT, Claude, etc., Gemini, or you could use Solyntek AI. Then You basically upload the documents that you want to use. These will be the knowledge base that the LLM will use. The RAG will do its job of converting these data to something the LLM can understand. And then you start basically prompting away. So create a plan, what your prompts should look like, what are the steps, etc. The more detailed you are, the better the answers will be. And always give your LLM like a specific role, a specific target, a specific format if you want the report in a specific format, and then it will start generating. And all this will be using your data. So it is very powerful as a tool. However, again, we have limitations. First thing is if you're using an LLM and a RAG on a third-party server, like for example, cloud server, etc., uh, make sure that these service providers are compliant with data privacy laws, etc. Because you could have some sensitive data in your documents that you don't want to share with other um, providers. So make sure you contact them to make sure that that point is covered. Also, you might need some training to ensure that you know how to use these platforms. There are some great resources online to show you how to use LLMs. For example, OpenAI has OpenAI University or something like that. Google has like some Google trainings that, again, you use these resources to be familiar with what's going on with these tools. And also, I think this point is very important. Make sure that your data is clean, is usable, and it is up to date. Otherwise, the rack system, like if you give it some bad data, it will give you bad output. So make sure that your data is good. Otherwise, you won't have the answers that you're looking for. And might discourage you from using AI. So make sure that you do that work before. Make sure the data is good. Otherwise, again, it will give you bad responses. So next steps. So we think the best way to get familiar with these tools is to start using them and playing with them. So go ahead, go to ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini, or Solyntek AI, and use them to like play around with the RAG system. Make sure that you're quite comfortable with it. Test it on some simple tasks. For example, summarize a report, summarize data, create plots, etc. So it could be very easy things. So to get familiar with the tools. Uh, Also, like, if you want to use these systems, make sure that you go ahead and contact these providers, ask them about the privacy of the data, because it's a really important point. Or you could use a tool like Solentech, because we have the RAG locally, so it is on your local server. Data is private, so it does not go to the internet. And yeah, start with again with a small project. I think the better way to learn is to try to use and get experience with these systems because they could seem daunting for at the beginning, but the more you do use them, the better, and the more comfortable you'll be with them. Uh, Again, so if you have any questions, you could contact me on LinkedIn or by email. And yeah, thanks for watching.